Hi guys, and welcome back to World of Tanks, and well, I'm going to be looking at this one, the Strv M4257 Alt A2 apparently. I didn't realise I had that on the end, so yeah, the 4257 is what I'm just going to call it for short. Now I have also got the Stark Strv S1. I am not going to be looking at that in this video. I will be looking at that one tomorrow, because it is one hell of a bitch to use. I don't know if I like it. My verdict is still out on it, to be honest. I think I've had one decent game in it and I managed about 2,500 damage, maybe a little bit more, and that's it. The rest, it's like I get 4 hits, score 4 hits on stuff, and then I get killed. But it's definitely not an easy tank to use. So I want to. Basically, I'm going to platoon up with my wife tomorrow. Because I've just got a feeling that as a lone tank, so to speak, this is not ideal. But in a platoon with somebody spotting for you, I think it could be a very, very potent tank. But we'll talk about that more tomorrow. I'm going to talk about the 4257. So tier 6, one of the first 2 Swedish vehicles in the game. The Swedish tech tree will be following soon, I would imagine, probably within a few weeks. But for now we've got these two, so we've got a tier 6 medium with an auto loader, very reminiscent of the French tanks. Understandably, I think the turret might even have come from or been based on the AMX light tanks. But it's in the body of a medium, so you've got a little bit more armour on the front, but you've got a lot less manoeuvrability. But it's down at tier 6, and it's not a bad gun. In fact, it's got a very good burst potential to it. Obviously, I've got no skills on the commander. Because it's it's the first of the Swedish tanks, got no Swedish crews, but they are 100%. Equipment wise, well, I've gone for a gun lane drive. You can't have a vertical stabilizer. I've gone for coated optics, which I'd just like to put on my mediums anyway. And because you can't have a gun ram and because it's an auto loader, that's why I've gone for vents. And I can't really think of much. I don't know. It depends on how you want to use it, but I think they suit the vehicle quite well. And it's got a 20% silver bonus and a 30% XP bonus. So its price tag is 3,700 gold. That's its base price tag anyway. It's available at the moment in a bundle, and obviously the unfortunate time-released bundles as well as things go on. But let's have a look at some of the stats of the gun and have a bit of a talk about it. Well, you've got a fairly small engine, but we'll have a look at that in the actual stat bit, and I'll go on about that. But you've got a 7.5 centimeter gun, 10 rounds a minute, but it's an auto loader, so it doesn't quite give you the whole story. Without any equipment or anything, it's a 16-second reload roughly, and you get 4 shots. But you've got 148 pen, which is, yeah, it's not bad for a tier 6, quite nice. When you think about the Easy 8, what's that, 128 pen? So the pen on this is quite nice, with 150 damage as well. Again, quite nice. For a tier 6 medium, 190 and 150 for your premium, and then 38, 185 for your HE. 2.3 second aiming time, which does feel a bit long on this actually, but then again it kind of needs balancing somehow. And 0.35 accuracy, which again isn't too bad. 38 degrees of traverse, which again isn't bad for a tier 6 medium. 32 on the turret, again not bad, pretty average, and some of the stats on this are fairly average. 350 meter view range feels a bit on the low side, but then again it's been a while since I've looked at tier 6, so even so I want to say that a lot of tier 6s are sort of 370, 380 maybe. So yeah, I don't know, that does kind of feel on the low side. Do I have another tier 6 available? For instance, let's have a look. 370 for the heavy tank, yeah, so just feel a little bit low for the tier, but nonetheless it's quite a nice gun. Let's have a look at the supplies first. Right, well, it's armour piercing for your standard ammunition, 145, nice and cheap. Carries quite a lot of ammo as well. It does carry more than the French sort of light tank equivalents, which is nice because they do tend to run out of ammo quite often. APCR 2,800, and then really cheap HE, which are 90, but your HE aren't particularly effective. Again, it's it's 75mm HE, so it's not overly effective. But don't forget, this is tier 6, so you will see tier 4s, and you can definitely clip tier 4s. You can probably clip Some of the tier 5s actually. This has 700 health, I think it is. So it could theoretically clip another one of these, but only if you get high rolls. Its average damage per clip is 600 damage, and then you've got a 16-second reload. Now this one, there's no skin on this, so you can put camo on. It's got a concealment of 0.25, as you can see there, and 0.19. Now that 340 horsepower engine translates to a 13.28 horsepower per tonne, which is on the lower side of tier 6 mediums, definitely. It does lack a little in the acceleration and sort of hill climbing aspect. Its forward speed is 45 kilometers an hour, so that's not bad at all. It can reach it, but it just takes a bit of time doing it. 20 in reverse and 20% chance of fire. Fairly large engine, doesn't take up the entire back of the tank. It's sort of from the back of the turret to basically in front of the rear drive wheel. The gun itself, like I said, 16-second reload. All I've got on it is vents, and it's down to 15 point something. Might be 15.3, something like that. Excuse me. Now, oscillating turret. The disadvantages of an oscillating turret are gun elevation and depression, which are normally quite poor. This has 12 degrees of elevation, which is poor, and 6 of depression, which is, let's face it, quite poor. So yeah, that is the downside of these oscillating turrets, so you will have to take that into account when you're playing it. And like I said before, 4 shots per clip. Terrain resistances are quite nice, 0.8, 0.9 and 2, so yeah, not too bad. You know, they are quite nice terrain resistances for a tier 6 medium. The turret is, well, it's weird on these oscillating ones. That small portion there is actually classed as the turret. The rest of it is classed as the gun, which you'll see in a moment. The radio is in the centre of the hull. Ammunition. The bustle of the autoloader there of the turret, the bustle is where the ammunition is stored. It's basically where the ammunition cartridges are, if you will, just in either side, and then down in the centre of the hull as well. But basically, probably the easiest they're going to be hit are the ones in the turret. Shell velocity isn't too bad as well at 925 meters per second. And you've got 3 crew, so not many in here at all. You've got the driver down in the hull, and then the commander, who will probably, well, I don't know if they'd have a loader. Obviously you've got the gunner up there, but I suppose he would kind of, actually I don't know which class is the loader in there, whether the gunner would double up as a loader or whether the commander would double up as a loader. Not entirely sure, but it probably does class as having one. Now, armour-wise, let's have a look. Where are we? Right, 55 on the front of the hull, 30 on the side of the hull, and 20 on the rear, which is quite low. And the turret is 40 on the front, and, you know, there is a quite nice bit of angling, but that's still not particularly, you know, well armoured. 20 on the sides and 20 on the rear, so the side and rear armour does leave a lot to be desired on the turret. And to be honest, it does on the actual side of the hull as well. Frontally, yeah, 55's not a lot, is it really? Not at sort of tier 6. I have had the odd bounce off it, but it was at extreme angles, you know, it was backing away, that sort of thing. So armour is not something you can rely on this. Now, it's not too bad at outmanoeuvring up close, but it's not great. So you really want to be maybe second line, possibly. I mean, I've been sort of front line with this in tier 6 matches, which I think I might have to show you. They might be the ones I'm using. And it's not too bad, but you do need to be able to back away. You do need to have some support, because obviously you've got a long wait, at least 15 seconds for that gun to reload once you've fired all 4 shots. So you do need some sort of backup with you. But to be honest, this has been a very pleasant surprise for me. I wasn't overly bothered about looking at this one. I was, you know, quite keen to get my hands on the TD. And yeah, this little tier 6 medium tank has kind of taken me by surprise, and I really like it. You know, I've got to be honest, I do quite like it. It's not going to be everybody's sort of thing. Autoloaders aren't everybody's sort of thing, and the armour, like I say, isn't great. But I don't know, it can pack a punch. Definitely pack a punch. But I think enough looking at it and talking about it in the garage. Let's get into the replays and see how it actually handles. Right, so here we are for the first of the replays, and this does not get preferential matchmaking, so it will see tier 8. And I know I didn't go on about skills in the garage. Basically, because I've not got any on it yet. But camouflage, sixth sense, brothers in arms, maybe clutch braking, possibly. I think would be probably a good start on this, and then repairs as well, maybe. But yeah, I think that's probably a good starting point for most mediums, to be honest. Now, both of these are actually tier 6 matches. I've been very fortunate with the matchmaking in this today. Not in any of my other tanks. In any of my other tanks it's been sort of tier either sort of mid-tier, and by that I mean, you know, if I was in tier 8 it'd be a tier 9, but it was like heavily tier 9 and a few tier 8s, or I've been bottom tier in most things I've been in today. But in this I've actually had some fairly favourable, in fact some very favourable matchmaking. And wasn't entirely sure whether taking this up the hill was the right play, to be honest. One, with it not having particularly good gun depression, and two, with it not having particularly good armour, but it worked out quite well. And it's a bit of a funny one. It's sort of, in tier 8 you're going to have to be very careful, and you're going to have to aim for weak spots or flank. When you're top tier it is brutal. As you can see there, 3 shots, tier 4 medium, dead. Now, it is a fairly long time in between shots as auto-loaders go. It's still, you know, quick, but as auto-loaders go, it seems to be a fairly long time in between shots. But having said that, it is a tier 6 medium with a potential of, you know, still 600 damage in a very short period of time. And yeah, you do have to, you know, you can't rely on your armour against some of the very low tiers, maybe if you're lucky, but you really don't want to be relying on your armour. And here, you know, I knew I was going to take a hit, but the trade-off for the amount of damage I did, in fact I took 2 hits there, but again, the sort of trade-off for the amount of damage that I did compared to receiving, I'd say that was worth it. Although I am going to play more cautiously, I think, from now on. Keeping an eye on that arty that's come up. And if I can just pop round here. Couldn't get the arty, but if I can just peek round and get that medium. There we go. I did take another hit, which was unfortunate. And I'm probably going to take another... Oh, no, I took one in the back from one of the allies. Yeah. I did take another hit from the Sherman there, but got alongside him and just put the last few shells into him and he was done. And that's what I mean, you know, this is, like with all auto-loaders, they make very good assassins, you know, sort of anything that's a similar tier, if it's on half health or below, there's a good chance you're going to be able to finish them off within a clip. So it does make a very good sort of late game assassin, like say, like other auto-loaders do. And to be honest, I think that, now I don't know if people will agree with me on this, but I think that if you were thinking about going down the French heavy line, down you know, towards the tier 8, 9 and 10 auto-loading heavies, but you weren't sure if you were going to sort of like auto-loaders and you've not been through any auto-loaders yet, this one, if you are looking at getting, you know, one of the Swedish premiums to pre-trained Swedish crews, I don't know if you are or not, but this tank would be a sort of a good training vehicle for those higher tier French auto-loaders. You know, it's not obviously it's not exactly the same. I'm thinking, you know, more the heavies, because even though they are heavies, they are quite nimble as well and sort of a bit less armoured, but it kind of gives you a good idea of the sort of auto-loader gameplay, because a lot of the auto-loaders in the game are generally higher tier. And yeah, I'm going to die here. I reset cap, but I was happy with that one. But yeah, they are generally higher tier. And I don't mean the sort of, because there are some light tanks, obviously, auto-loaders that are lower down, but not that have the same sort of feel, in a way, and kind of performance similarities. To these, you know, of course, you've got the T-71, but that's a light tank. You've got the French light tanks, but again, you know, the light. But I'm thinking of like the T-69, T-54E1, you know, that sort of thing. And this, instead of having to grind down an entire line to see if you like it or not, Mind you, then again, you're going to have to fork out for this one to see if you like it or not, so I'll probably just ignore everything I was just saying. But anyway, out of that match, it's kind of telling that both of the Strvs are the top two. I didn't quite come top. I think the other guy might have got a bit more assisted than I did. Or it might have been because he survived as well, but I'm not sure. But yeah, this was it's been a nice little surprise, this tank, for me, and I do quite like it. Like I said before, it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea because, you know, not everybody likes auto-loaders. Some people just don't. But if you do, yeah, it's going to be a nice little sort of pre-trainer for your Swedish crews, and then obviously continuing to train them up when the Swedish line comes out proper. But out of the two, if I was going to get one, I'm not going to get the TD. You know, I'm just going to put that out there right now. I'm not going to buy it. If I did, it would be the plain version, because of there is a lot, you know, a sort of quite a big difference in price between or what will be the price of the plain one and the one with the flag that we have now, the Stark version. But I do find it quite garish anyway. But yeah, that's not one that I think I'm going to be buying. I think I'd rather wait and just grind down the Swedish TD line to get to the Tech Tree versions and give them a bit more of a try. I'm going to have a, you know, play and a mess about, and I'll give you my full sort of feelings on it tomorrow. But and like I say, it's not that I'm saying I don't like it, because I really don't know if I like it or not yet, but it's not one that I'm going to be buying. But this one is tempting me to sort of get a jump on my Swedish crew training. It's quite a nice little medium. And, you know, these have kind of been the average games that I've been having in it. I think I've had the odd, you know, one or two that weren't brilliant, but even then I still scored, you know, about 8 hits, which is not too bad. You know, you're looking around maybe 1,000 damage, and it was just one of those where the team just crumbled very quickly and really got stomped on. Kind of the opposite to what we do to the enemy team in this, or well, the opposite way round, should I say, because our team do sort of ruffle stomp the enemy a little bit in this match. But yeah, like I say, it would sort of prepare you, like I say, if you were looking at buying a sort of one of the Swedish premiums, this would prepare you for any higher tier auto loaders that you were thinking of going down, and get you used to that play style. Just had to turn my microphone off there because the throat's going a bit funny again. But I'm going to take down this 3002M, hopefully anyway. Nearly got him. One more in the clip, and it's only going to take one more to put him down. But as you can see, when it gets going, it's, you know, its speed isn't bad. It's just a bit sluggish on the uptake, and, you know, like I say, hill climbing is lacking a little bit. But the reload on the autoloader's not too long. What's that? 15.32 seconds was that, and that's just with vents. So if you've got Brothers in Arms on there, and, you know, maybe some premium food item, that'd come down quite a bit. And I knew I was going to take a hit from him, but I also knew that I was going to take him out as well. And that's what I like about this tank. It's mostly the gun. You know, the armour is pretty mediocre, sort of mediocre, even bordering inadequate. The speed is, you know, pretty average, you know, acceleration wise, and the top speed again is average, not in a bad way, but, you know, a lot of tier 6 mediums have a similar sort of speed. So there are a lot of things about this that are sort of average to medium, you know, ranging from average to mediocre. Yeah, pretty much the same thing there, but you get what I mean. But the gun is nice, and it's that 600 sort of average burst potential that makes it quite nice. Very good for popping out and doing damage to stuff that's not paying attention to you. And that's what I like about it. Not the best games, not the best damage that I've done in it, but they're sort of more indicative of the average games. But anyway, there you go, the Strv M4257. A nice little surprise for me. I quite like it, actually, and it has been a very pleasant surprise. But there you go. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed that video. I'll be back tomorrow with the review of the Stark TD. Yeah, it's like I say, it's not easy. But yeah, until then, catch you next time. See you later.